Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the BeStrong Show. I am your host, Michelle Shirley, CEO and Chief Heart Officer for BeStrong International. If you have not heard about us yet, you are missing out. We are doing so many amazing things with children and families, and we want people to learn how to love themselves well so that they can love others well. We want them to have meaningful connections, and so we want you to be a part of what BeStrong is doing. Visit us on our website at bestrongintl.org. Become a volunteer. There's so many ways that you can get involved so that we can help others love each other well. Today, I have an amazing guest for you. She is the president of the Kirk Foundation. Her name is Rosa Santiago. Welcome, Rosa, to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
I'm so excited for you to be here because I know you are a busy lady, engrossed in so many things happening at the foundation. First, I want to say thank you for even being a supporter of BeStrong and the work that we do. I think it's been, 3 years now?
It's been a few, yes.
3 or 4 years now, yeah. And we're just so excited about our future together and what we can continue to do for the community that we serve. I want you to share a little bit about, I read your bio, and you talked about how you came to Miami at 6 months old. That is incredible. And so tell me about that transition with your family and how that all worked out for you to end up staying in this lovely city that we call Miami.
Yes. Well, I mean, I was born in Cuba in 1968. And unfortunately, at a time where there was a lot of turmoil and change in government. So my parents decided to give us all a better life and brought us to the States.
Right.
Interestingly enough, I spent my first night at the Freedom Tower, where we literally slept there. And then we were shipped to New York because back in those days, whoever you had in the U.S. that, quote unquote, claimed you, that's where you had to go. So my grandfather lived in Manhattan in the projects, and that's where we went.
Wow.
So for 5 years, we lived in New York City, and then 5 years of a lot of crime and a lot of violence. My parents were entrepreneurs, so they had a lot of, violence at their store. And they said, that's it. We're moving our family to safer grounds, if you will. And we happened upon Leisure City, Florida, which is really Homestead. And so in the house that my mom still lives in today, 40 something years later. And that's my history in South Dade County.
Wow.
So, yes.
Wow. Very interesting. And what kind of store did they have when they were
They had a little bodega.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Very typical. Yeah. So, yes. But they were entrepreneurs, and then they came here and opened their own business here. And yeah.
That's so great. So I know you have a background. You have this MBA, right? And so tell us a little bit about how you landed throughout your career at the Kirk Foundation.
Okay. So in 1999, this is my 25th year with the foundation, Kirk and I were both transitioning from different parts of our careers, if you will. They had just sold American Bankers to Fortis Assurant. And so Kirk was retiring from his corporate job and started his foundation. And then I was also transitioning from another industry, and we just happened together. We were kismic from the beginning, and I was with him till he passed in 2015. And at that point, when he passed, he had his estate plan and had directed that I become the president of his foundation because I had worked with him so long, and I pretty much knew what his interests were in giving in South Florida. So that's when I assumed the position of president.
Wow. That's amazing to have to be able to leave that sort of legacy to someone that they can trust, right? And know that their vision will continue. Tell us a little bit more about him. What was his vision for the foundation, and where are you now with that vision?
So Kirk was very much into making South Florida world class. I mean, he would talk to people about, Zoo Miami and say, well, how can we beat San Diego? Because San Diego has the best zoo. He would talk about our Miami City Ballet. Well, how can we become, the New York City Ballet? How can we get ourselves there? So his whole premise was we need to make South Florida world class, where people can come here and say we have world class arts, we have world class education, anything that would make us better. So he really focused on arts and education, giving to all the major educational institutions here in Miami, as well as all the arts institutions as well. But when we assumed as a board control of the foundation, if you will, as a whole, we said, okay, we can't help everybody. We need to narrow it down.
Right.
So we decided, okay, we will make it world class with arts and education for children.
Nice.
So we had to put a cap and say 18 and under because, I was a 30-year-old MBA student, and we can't fund that kind of education program for everyone. So that's how we've kind of honored him. And I think, every day I walk into the office and I see his picture and I think, I hope I'm making you proud.
Aww.
And the way that we serve the community and all the different nonprofits that we touch, I think we are making him proud. And I think his legacy will go on for as long as we will be around, which is another 10 years.
Yeah. That's really great.
Yes.
I know that there are nonprofit friends in our space that are probably going to see this and want to know more about when you say you fund arts and education, what would make their application come to the top? What would make it rise to the top? What's some things that you're looking for in an application to say, this is something that the Kirk Foundation definitely wants to be part of?
So I have kind of taken on this position that, and you can attest with BeStrong, that we need to service the South more. We have, as a community, we've been focused on the North because the population was always in the North.
Right.
With gentrification and just an explosion in population in general, because everyone, for some reason, wants to move to Miami.
Right. For some reason.
The South is exploding, and we don't have the services in the South. And families are craving it. This is where the middle class families are moving to. They are working 9 to 5, 9 to 6, stuck in traffic for 2 hours. So we need to provide those services for our children down south. So, I tell every nonprofit that comes to me when they present a project, my first question is, are you doing something in the South? If you are, how, what kind of funding do you have? Are you looking for funding there? That's where I'm pretty much focused in funding right now. Yeah. Thankfully, my board is in agreement with me on that. And not to say I'm not going to fund something in the North. Obviously, that we still need to service the youth in the North. But I really am trying to bring programs down South, and I think I've been successful.
You have. I'm very excited about this.
At first, nobody was down there, and I keep pushing people and
probing.
A lot of the nonprofits were hesitant. Oh my gosh, this is new territory for us. Then I hear back, and my God, they're so recipient of it. They're hungry for it. I said, yes, I know. I've been telling you. So, that's where I'm at right now. Just keep pushing for the South.
Yeah. I think one of the things I would say about you is that, and it's not always with funders, and I'm going to take a leap here, but you've been so open and so encouraging, and I think even forthcoming in saying what you're looking for, what you want. We're able to have conversations about how you want the program to look, or what might be missing. And I think sometimes the relationship between, CEOs or even the program managers and funders can be very scary. We are doing our best to make sure that you are happy, because this is the money that you've so graciously stewarded to us. Tell me what your thought process is around the relationship between the funder and the provider, and how you navigate that. Because I think sometimes when people apply for grants, we kind of think, okay, we just want to get the money. But BeStrong's been learning, like, wait a minute, we want to make sure that this is the right funder, that we can have an ongoing, open, honest relationship so that we can both succeed, right? If there's fear factor there, if there's lack of communication, we can have missed expectations. So I want to hear your thoughts about that a little bit.
Thank you. I appreciate you saying that, because I try to be as open as possible. The relationship that you and I have, I have with quite a few nonprofits, and I encourage that. I am also a funder who will come and visit your program. Yes. I want to ask the 100 questions. I want to see it in the good and the bad. Yeah. And in the bad, I might say, Michelle, why is this doing this? Right. Maybe we should step back and take a look at it and do it another way. And I think that if you're not a funder that way, then you're just giving money to give money. We're very programmatic. I want to have a relationship. If I don't have a relationship with you as my nonprofit, either you're way north and I don't want to drive an hour and a half to get to you, or I'm probably not too interested. But that's just where I am. And the other thing is, if I'm going to fund a nonprofit, I want to see that it is something that the students are enjoying. Yes. That we're just not funding to fund. It's something that they're walking away with enjoying, whether it's an arts event or an educational part of it. So that's how I pretty much see it.
That's great. And I appreciate it. And I think as we are, again, navigating this landscape, and I think organizations are looking at what's good money, right? And what's not so good money. I know we've been doing that. It's good to find those organizations and those for-profit entities or funders that can help support the work and have that established relationship. So thank you for that.
My pleasure.
So we're going to move into our social Yaks component, where we get to know a little bit more about Rosa in a very fun way with our card game called Social Yaks. If you have not purchased it, you should. You're giving back to an amazing organization, and you're having a good time with these cards with friends. You can do it with coworkers, really anyone. It's an amazing game. So we'll start with the polar bear level, right? And it's breaking the ice. So our guests are going to get to know you a little better. I'm going to ask you that you pick up the card, read the card aloud, and then answer the question. Yep.
Kids today will never understand the struggle of using a corded phone. Okay. I remember vividly having that cord in my bedroom for hours, and my parents knew I was on the phone because here's this long cord.
Right.
So it was a struggle.
Yeah, and then they could pick up the phone and hear your conversation too, right?
True.
And they could say, like my mom did, "It's time to get off the phone," and you're just like, okay.
Well, I should probably rephrase that to having a home phone in general.
Right. Yeah, because no one,
people would break in with the emergency calls. It was just a whole different world back then. Yes. A fun world that I don't regret.
I know. And the party lines. Did you do the party lines where it was like 10 of us and we're like, okay, everybody be quiet. We can't hear each other. Yeah, it's so fun. Yes. Okay. Pick up the next one. Yep, let's see.
What's your favorite season and why? My favorite season is fall. We talk about how I moved here from New York. I really wish I would have stayed in New York. I love the changing of the seasons, and I've lived here all my life, and my husband does not want to move, but I would love to live somewhere where I can have the seasonal change and just the changing of the season, the cool, crisp air, I'm a pumpkin lover. So the pumpkin spice, everything. I know I'm basic, but, just the change.
Oh, that's nice.
Yes.
That's nice. Oh,
Yes.
well, hopefully we can change his mind.
I don't know about that.
All right. So we're going to go to the next level. This is the yak level. So we're going to go a little bit deeper. We're going to get social. Go for it.
Okay. What would you say to your younger self? Work out more and eat less.
Because your metabolism is better right now.
Yes, because everything slows down. I tell my
after
22-year-old daughter that I'm like, work out, eat less.
Right. And is she listening or no?
She is.
Okay,
and thankfully that this generation does do self-care way more than we did.
Yeah.
So thankfully she is heeding the warnings. So yes.
Oh.
I know. Next. What's something that you're grateful for? Well, obvious, my children, my husband, my mom who's still alive. But every day on a personal level, I am grateful that I get to wake up in the morning and to continue the legacy of this amazing funder that we had, Mr. Landon. And so I think giving back to the community every single day and watching his dollars make so many people happy is what I'm grateful for.
Yeah. And I think, wait a minute, you were honored at the philanthropy Miami event.
At the Donor Next Door.
The Donor Next Door. Yes. How did that make you feel that someone showed you their gratitude in that way?
I'm always happy and proud. Kirk never wanted the recognition. He wanted to give the money and be quiet and just get it done. But I'm happy that people see it. Listen, I get thanked every day, all the time. So I know we're doing right by him, and I know people see what we're doing.
Yeah. And how does that make your daughter feel? You said I know you have a daughter.
I have a daughter and I have a son.
How does that make them feel to see you get these sort of accolades? And
they're very proud. They were both a big part of Mr. Landon's life. He adopted them almost as if they were his own grandchildren. Kirk and I were very close. So they're happy. They're proud that I continue his legacy as well. I invite them to events sometimes, so they get to see it. Yes. Yeah. And most people. Fun fact: my daughter was born while I was working for him, and she came to work with me for 2 years. So a lot of people that I have known for the 25 years know her. So we will go places together, and they will be, oh my gosh, you're the little girl in the crib. So a lot of people in the community know her.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
So she's been around.
Now, is she thinking about entering the nonprofit space or something completely different?
She's a marketing major, and it's right now she's looking at for-profit. But interestingly, she interviewed for something nonprofit.
Right.
And I said, "Are you sure you want to do that?"
Because
are you sure you want to do that? So I think right now she's looking at for-profit, but anything is possible.
Yeah. Wow. That's amazing. And I think taking them out to see the work that's still being done is incredible.
Yes. My son, who's an engineer, he actually leads his engineering association in Palm Beach. So he does his own philanthropy back and mentors young students. So I would say that Kirk would be very proud of him as well.
Oh, that's great. Yes. And is it his own foundation, or is it?
No.
This is part of another group.
It's part of another group.
Wow.
Yes.
Have they been part of sort of the grant review process ever to kind of help? No,
because we have a board, and
they're the ones that want to do that.
Selected by Mr. Landon. So no.
I thought that'd be cool.
No, I know it would be, but we're sunsetting, so we're keeping things the way they are. And
got it.
Again, this was selected by Mr. Landon, so we're not trying to rock the boat.
Yeah. No, I get it. I get it.
Yes.
All right. Let's go a little deeper now.
Oh, gosh. Okay. What regrets do you have if you were to die today, I would say not traveling more, not enjoying my life more. I feel I'm well traveled, but I would like to travel more. I would like to take more breaks, and not so much for me, because I say it all the time. I'm very blessed with what I do, but my husband's in sales. It's a very demanding job.
I know what you mean.
And in fact, he left the house this morning angry. So it's, he had 2 medical episodes last year, and I would be unhappy if we didn't do more for his mental health.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I have that same thing where my husband's in sales.
Yes.
And it can be, a different type of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's different from the nonprofit
It's
space.
totally different.
Yeah.
I mean, and let's be real, I do have the best job on earth. So, I mean,
I know. We
can never
try not to
complain.
brag,
Yes,
right?
I can never complain, but, yes.
Oh, wow. Okay. There you go.
What situation made you realize your parents were not perfect? Well, gosh, there's so many. I mean,
I hope mom is not watching. Okay.
She's not watching, but my parents were not very affectionate. And I think, I don't know at what point I realized it. And I don't know if it's the struggling immigrant, we don't have time for anything but to work and provide food. And the fact that most of my siblings were always fighting with each other. So I think that's when I realized they weren't perfect. I am constantly telling my children how proud I am of them. I tell them every day when we talk, I love you. So I don't hear that from my mom still.
Yeah.
My father's been gone for 30 years, but my mom rarely will tell us, I love you. So it's, I think that's, and I'm not saying you have to be a perfect parent.
Right.
If,
all of us, we didn't get the book on parenting.
Exactly. But I think when it comes to situations like that, I realized they weren't perfect, and and we all need to hear you're doing a great job, and we all need to be told I love you or whatever. So
that's interesting you say that, because I think that is a common thread among the generation that came to the States and really struggled in some type of way to make this better life happen. And I don't know if the grit of all of it and the grind of it, and of course, part of it too is what they experienced, their hardships from their parents passed down, right?
True.
So you can't give what you don't know, right? But it'd be good to probably ask her, and say, Mom, I'd love to hear you say, I love you. You know what I mean? And just have that conversation.
I get it.
Sometimes we don't think about that. We just change. We just say, you know what? I'm just not going to do this with my kids, and we change. But we never go back to say, do you mind if I ask you something? You know what I mean? And it would be amazing to hear. And this would be a follow-up, but I have to call you about this because I love hearing stories like this.
I want to ask her. I feel bad. She's 87.
I know, but I think
torment her.
No, I don't think it's torment.
She's a good mother.
Yeah. No, I know. I'm sure.
Anything I need, she's there. But it's just,
something you noticed. Yeah.
Granted, she is from a broken home too, so it could be that.
I think it's a lot of
my
that.
father passed in his 50s, so I can't ask him. Yeah. But it's just something that I notice now.
Yeah. I think it's good. It's good. It reminds me of a situation where my mom had, she was in a situation with my dad, and it was a domestic violence situation, and my little sister was there, and I had to kind of grab, my sister, but I was so frozen by it that I didn't reach out to move her out, of the situation, or even to get my mom off, or get my dad off. Mm-hmm. And I remember her at that moment, or later on in that sort of time and space, saying, you just stood there. And I was just like, I don't know why I stood there,
Yeah.
And it wasn't until years later that I kind of said, I'm thinking about this and I would love to discuss this, with you. And it ended up really, really well. You just never know.
Yeah.
You just never know. And the time we have is so limited.
I know.
With the ones we love, Anyway, no pressure. You don't have to. I just love hearing stories of connection and like, oh, this is why, So on the last level, this is called the use wisdom level, the owl. And how the game works is you will read the card, but I am going to answer it for you.
Okay.
Okay. So this is where we kind of seal you back up. You've shared so much about yourself, and so I want to encourage you. So I'll let you read it.
If you had to give me a very meaningful gift, what would you give me?
Pressure on television. A meaningful gift. I would give you... Oh my gosh, this is too much. You know what I just thought about? This is crazy. I'm going to cheat and give you two things. I would give you the I love yous from your mom.
Oh.
And the hugs.
Oh, I'm going to cry.
I know. This is too much because it just came to me and I was like, that's what I would give you. I would give you those.
Literally, I'm crying.
I know. I would give you the I love yous and the hugs. But I would also give you a special visit from Mr. Landon so he could come and say,
oh my God, I'm going to cry.
I am so proud of you.
Thank you.
I am so proud of you.
That is a great gift.
Yeah.
That's a great gift.
Yeah. And that just came to me just now. And I think it's just because of what you shared.
Oh my
God. I know. And I'm just trying not to cry either. Oh my gosh. But I really do, Rosa, I know you get a lot of requests. I know that you've got a lot to do. There's so much need in the South.
So much.
And you can only do so much, right? And we feel the same even as providers, like, oh my gosh, we hear the stories and you can only do so much. But I want to share with you that I really admire you. And when I got the call from you, because you know who introduced me?
Yes.
Stephanie.
Yes.
Stephanie introduced us.
Yes.
Thank you, Stephanie Sylvester.
Yes.
And with Avatar Buddy, plug.
Yes.
And I got the call and you said, I'm interested in seeing what you do because I'm interested in funding the South. And I remember, and it was such a relief because at the time, I'm just like,
nobody.
Who cares about anybody cares about the South? Does anybody care about the South? You know, or does everybody care about the South?
Yes.
And so I would just say, you are doing it. You're doing it well. There's not a person who I meet now where I'm like, do you know Rosa from the Kirk Foundation? Because I'm like, you could be funded. This is an amazing program,
I don't know if I should thank you.
All right. I'm like, I should say, do you need more people? You've been doing a great job. So I'm proud of you and I'm sure he is. So
thank you. I appreciate that.
With that said, so that we don't shed any more tears here, I'm going to let you look in that camera and I want you to share how can nonprofit leaders or the program managers who are running these programs or just anyone else who may want to come alongside you and be some sort of support to the Kirk Foundation, how can they get in touch with you? How can they get involved?
Okay. You can go to our website, thekirkfoundation.org, and read the parameters for grant application. And if you fit within those parameters, send us a letter of intent and our board will review it and we will get back to you. And we, if possible, will partner with you.
Awesome. That's wonderful. Well, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
I really appreciate it. So amazing. thank you for tuning in today to our amazing show. Hopefully you didn't shed a little tear like us, but that's what Be Strong is about. It's about connecting, it's about empowering, it's about vulnerability, it's about empathy, it's about making sure that we are always aware of the meaningful connections that we have with one another and what we could do to encourage one another to keep doing this amazing life and work that we all want to do. With that said, I will see you next time. Michelle